Hello, everyone. Welcome into the PHNX Rising post-game show.
We're
Yeah,
going on a little tour. Going on a little tour around the stadium now.
yeah.
We're actually currently in one of the offices.
We have infiltrated Phoenix Rising headquarters. We are here. We are in here. We are inside the offices. We decided to change it up. Phoenix Rising clinched. We're not just going to do any old normal post-game show. No. We're sitting here in the chairs doing a little sit-down version for you guys. It's gotta make it special. Gotta make it special.
It's a bit quieter, a bit more ASMR.
Well, also because I want to yell and scream, but I'm it's trying to be a polite person, a mensch, if you will. But gotta tame it. But nothing tame about Phoenix Rising's 1-1 draw tonight. Right, they go down in the second half. Really bit of a tough. I mean, it was a tough match, man. Right, first half we're kind of looking for something. There really wasn't a ton of movement off the ball, and you're thinking, where is this going to go come from? And even after OC scores, you're kind of thinking, like, if we could salvage a draw, great, but we just don't know where that's coming from. And wouldn't you know it, that goal came from an absolute certified top bins banger from Emil Cuello in the 85th minute. My word, what a goal. Owen, how do you feeling?
Yeah, it was just a bit of a goal, wasn't it?
Just a little bit.
It's one of those ones whereby, again, 9 times out of 10, a player's not going to take it on. When they do, it normally goes wide, right? In the game, you feel that way, right?
Yeah.
If you're looking elsewise, I mean, shout out as well, Andrew, in the chat. We've now got a guy talking about who the D-backs are going to play. So I think like we've progressed from being people get high and think we're a Suns podcast to people hop in and think that now we're a D-backs. Give us the Brewers, Philly's scary.
Dear gosh. Wait, where's our? Oh no, we didn't win. But where's our guy from Thursday?
The guy from Thursday. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Where's that guy from Thursday? Where is who let him cook?
Who let him cook?
Who let him cook?
I mean, I know he said he'd come back after a win, but like, buddy, we drew that the unbeaten streak continues, and we're in.
Juan is cooking.
He's cooking.
We're in the playoffs.
We let him cook. Come back. He'll come back in there. He'll come back in the chat.
There we go.
Oh man. But like we said, 1-1 draw. It's performance, right? Came in on the end. This team, they love a good second half goal, and they really love a goal near the death in these last couple of matches, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They do. Right. It's one of those things where this team, they don't quit, right? But they don't have those first halves where they really go out and get goals. They don't have first halves really where they give away that many goals. Actually, when you break down the numbers, right, you look at it, what you find is that of all the teams in USL Championship, there is only one, pulling up the names now just so I make sure I get these correct. There's only one that has failed to score a first half goal in more games this season. That's Indy 11. There's also only one that has prevented the opposition from scoring in the first half as many times as Phoenix Rising has at Sacramento Republic this season. Rising's first halves are cagey, right? They often are. I was chatting with Juan about that after the game, and he's like, look, a large part of it is just the league is better, right? There's a lot of smarter coaches. There's a lot of better players now. These games aren't easy, right? And especially at this time of season, as things are getting now to the business end of the season, of course, you're going to perhaps play a little bit more cautiously. You're feeling each other out. You're trying to work out what the opposition are going to bring on any given match day. That plays into it. Those first halves can be slightly awkward, right? And we know that, right?
Oh yeah.
Everyone wants to come out and watch a game where they're scoring 3, 4, 5, 6 goals, especially if they're getting them done in the first half. But at the end of the day, if you're able to weather the storm in that first half, get a feel for what the opposition are going to do, make good adjustments later down the line, it's not a problem that they're so quiet in the first half right? We've got to bear in mind this team has now clinched a playoff place today with the way the results went elsewhere, and of course getting the draw here. So, look, it's an odd pattern, I think, to have that many games that you're going into the break at 0-0, but you get there.
Sorry, I was looking at the chat. They're asking if I'm buying beers, if I'm buying shots. Really nice of you, Max. What a guy.
Yeah, we'll get onto this later.
Well, I know, but no,
we've got some fun content for you later on.
We do. No, but I mean, listen, it's something where you want to see a team start strong, especially in these first halves, and the fact that Rising, kind of whether it's coming out of the gate slow from like an offensive performance, plus teams really trying to game plan, really like knowing to stop the momentum, especially at home. It's tough, but I think there is the silver lining, and this comes around especially during playoff time, that if a team is going to pick a half to finish strong, you're happy it's the second half, because especially in these matches where you're grinding out, where again, the aspect of the playoffs, now that we're in it because we clinched, it's going to be just way more stymied, way probably less free flowing from a lot of teams. That, especially they come to Rising, especially, we're going to get to this later, but knock on wood, if they're hosting a home playoff match, it's going to get a lot more controlled. And so if you're able to come on in the second half, get those late goals, keep that momentum going, and find a way, which they have been able to do in these last couple weeks, it does bode well. So that is the silver lining from this performance.
It is, right? There are much worse outcomes we could have seen tonight. And again, this felt like a preview of what is realistically a playoff match down the line,
yes,
right?
100%.
These two sides could meet
Yes.
in the first round of the
Yes.
playoffs. It could genuinely happen. Max, your arms look huge, according to Sean in the chat, by the way.
Oh shucks, thank you. They call me Max, not Min, maybe. You know what I mean?
But right, this is a genuine potential playoff preview, right, between these two sides. And I think as you're looking at that, you've got to bear in mind, Rising wouldn't have been out of it.
Yeah.
This game would have probably moved on into extra time. Well, it would have if it finished like this.
Yeah.
Not sure if anyone would have come out on top of that. Look, I've said all along, though, right? As you look at this season and you look at what they should have been doing, what the outcomes should be, right? As you're starting the era of Juan Guerra as the coach of this team, this wasn't the season to pile huge expectations on. This was the season to expect that they are going to make the playoffs, because, again, 2/3 of the teams make the playoffs, right? You can't miss the playoffs.
Yep.
But this is the good transition step. It's an improvement from last year.
Yep.
We've seen that this team has potential. They could potentially finish in the top 4 still.
Yep.
This is what what I personally was expecting to see this year as the goal, right?
Yeah.
Get into the playoffs. If you can do some damage in the playoffs, all well and good. But next year is where the real challenge starts. Next year is when this team then has to flip a switch and be a serious title contender. Okay. This year, job is done.
Yeah.
I mean, they could move on. They could go and actually pose a threat for the cup.
Oh, sure.
I wouldn't rule it out with the talent, with the quality that's on this team.
Especially knowing what's at stake. We gotta just take it one step at a time.
I don't think that it's something that you look at this team now and say, well, whatever you do from here on out, I don't think is a failure of a season.
No. I mean, listen, I think our expectations, especially knowing what happened last year, it's kind of the meme of, our expectations were low, but holy F, right? It's the goal to make playoffs. This has been achieved, no matter how you dice it up, no matter the performances, no matter some of the bad stretches in the team. This team, in our eyes, achieved the minimum and what the expectation, knowing that this talent has, knowing what the pedigree of this club has been. They did it. They have done the minimum. Now it's seeing where can they go from here and making that next step of hey, can they make a run? Can they actually go forward and really cause some fun? Because this is the beautiful part, is right. They're riding this unbeaten streak. They're riding these these finishing opportunities. That isn't for nothing. And anything now, especially with possibly an opportunity to host a home playoff match, we're not trying to get ahead of ourselves. We're going to get into it later in the show.
Don't push too far.
You were literally the one pushing too far, but it's exciting, and we go from here. I do really quick. We should go to the numbers of tonight's match, tell the story a bit. Again, 1-1. This ends in a draw. Expected goals, point. Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's messy, right?
It
messy.
It is.
Look, again, though, you get a draw. It's mission accomplished.
It is.
I mean, I wouldn't look too much into this. It was a cagey game overall. Okay. Rising had one shot on target by the 70th minute. They end up getting a second there, which is a goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can give one other serious chance in there in terms of John Stenberg getting it and kind of, it comes off the outside of the post. It's one of those ones you look at and just think, maybe it's just not their day.
I mean, I think
I genuinely saw that and thought maybe it's not their day.
Certainly, I think you had the stat right. By the 70th minute was one on shot. Yeah, it's tough, but hey, that's where you.
Again, they got the job done. They got the job done. Let's actually have a listen to what Juan had to say about clinching.
Sure.
Yeah, first objective achieved. We won a lot more. We want to keep pushing. We wanted to win tonight. We wanted the 3 points, and it wasn't possible. But also, it's a good point that now you're telling me it gets us into playoffs. I think it was October 3rd last year when you and I spoke at RGV, and it was a sad day, man. It was a day that is forever going to be marked because a year ago we found out that we didn't have an opportunity to play in the playoffs. It's been now 12 months of a lot of work, 12 months of a lot of sacrifice, 12 months of a lot of changes, and also 12 months of a lot of resiliency. Tonight is an important point. We take it. We want to keep winning. We want to keep focusing on performances. We want to keep making sure that the team stays strong in every single aspect that there is, and we want to keep moving forward together. Tonight is important. Tonight we should all celebrate, and we want to start thinking about New Mexico tomorrow.
I mean, I think that's it. It's going back and thinking, hey, you clinched. It's fantastic. But it really is on to the next one, because there's a lot more at stake than just clinching a playoff match. There's a very real possibility this team can be hosting. A lot has to happen, both in their control, both out of their control in some ways, but keep it moving.
Yeah, I mean, we'll break down a lot of those things. I mean, we'll do some of it later in the pod when we look at the results elsewhere. I know we're going to probably on Tuesday really analyze as well, I think, some of those other games that are remaining where the pivotal games could be. There's not many of them left now, so we are getting right into crunch season. But again, it's a clinch.
We are getting into crunch season. Speaking of crunch season, sounds like you went to Circle K, maybe grab some chips, crunching on those. Am I right?
Oh my God, Max! Why do you do these cringy transitions every time?
I know. You know what can I say? Circle K. They got the crunch. They got the slurp. They got the fill up. Both for your car and for your body. You have a Polar Pop, of course. That's what you're slurping at Circle K. You're slurping a Polar Pop at Circle K.
Like an audience of people sitting here watching us right now. So, Max, why don't you do your impersonation again of, like, if you were in Las Vegas at a lights game and you happened to give a llama a Polar Pop, what noise would it make?
That's incredibly specific.
You did that on the pod.
You're gonna have to be more specific. Doesn't really ring a bell.
I love when he gets embarrassed.
I don't get embarrassed.
Producer Emma.
I do things on my own terms. I'm not getting sheep herded by this guy. But anyway,
well, llama herded.
That's actually
llama. What would it sound like?
Circle K, great time. Their Inner Circle program. Here's what I want you guys to do: download Circle K app for free. Download the Inner Circle program for free. Check it out. It's a fantastic time. Funny enough,
the chat wants you to do the llama sound.
Yeah, the chat wants me to do all kinds of things that I'm certainly not going to do. No, listen, Mitch, my guy from Circle K, he texted me and he literally said, I kid you not, he's like along. No. I'm actually going to pull this up. You can hold.
Circle K app,
this is part of the Circle K app. Mitch, my guy from Circle K, literally texted me and he said, "We need a miracle. Here's to hoping that something works." And literally, I kid you not, 1 second afterwards, Emil Cuello, boom, rocket equalizer. The man's magic. Circle K is magic. Check them out. Again, download Circle K app for free. Inner Circle app for free. First 5 Polar Pops for free. First 5 fill-ups, 25 cents off a gallon. Baby, it's that good. Check them out. Circle K. Love them. You know what else we love?
Super chats, actually. We love super chats. Shout out to CWP with a $5 super chat. It's a good night when two AZ teams can celebrate reaching the postseason. Very true. The D-backs clinching as well. Today, they'll be playing in the wildcard round. And rising clinching here. So not too far apart locations here in Phoenix. Both celebrating tonight.
We love that. Love a good celebration. Love a good celebration. After a positive result. There we go. There we go. Can't say that D-backs. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'm gonna get some flack from the D-backs fans.
You're gonna get a lot of flack for that one.
What?
Please give him flack.
They would never.
Albert also has llamas in the inner circle.
Stop it. No, that's for Circle K fans only. But shout out friends at Four Peaks because they are also at Circle K. Okay. Check out Four Peaks. They have the Four Peaks. All the different beers, the hop nuts, the kilts, the wows, the hazies, everything. They got the pumpkin porters. It's that season. If you like that delicious beer, which of course you do, you don't have to be basic like you are, Mr. Owain Evans.
Why am I basic?
I don't know. You just are.
I feel like you'd be more basic than me.
Have you? You clearly haven't met me, sir. Anyway, check out Four Peaks. Fantastic time. Check them out at the Four Peaks Pub and at Four Peaks Brew to get all your latest and greatest beers. Check them out on Instagram at those places. Check out the 8th Street Pub. Get some beers in your system. Celebrate clinching, baby. Let's go.
Indeed. I might go home and have to grab a wow at the fridge.
Oh, man. Yeah, you do. We should shout out our man of the match.
Our man of the match. Who is our man of the match?
Yeah,
Producer Emma.
Yeah.
Producer Emma gave it to the press box here. Normally has power and internet. That's true. It normally does have power and internet. But tonight, I'm afraid, it does not have power. That is why we are sitting here.
No, this is actually really by divine intervention, by destiny, by fate, if you will. We actually wanted to, be here because it's a cool little spot. Get a nice live audience, people watching.
We do. Speaking of which, live audience, who's more basic, me or Max?
Well, no.
Max, there we
I
go,
heard
there we
Owen.
go.
Owen.
I heard
Oh my gosh,
Max
yeah, agreed.
said by the person watching.
People say a lot of things around here.
People say a lot of things, and a lot of them are true.
It's unfortunate. All right. Well, anyway, now we get the man of the match out of the way. I'm trying to think. I mean, right, this was this performance where you had a lineup, all attackers, guys shelled out, had some substitutions in there. Emil Cuello coming on board made a difference. Anyone that you really want to point out to other than Emil Cuello who you think, hey, helped to contribute to the equalizer?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, look, there's a lot of things I think that we need to get into again. So some of it wasn't good enough. I think it was KG. It was not the best in terms of chance production. At the same time, I don't think they really let Orange County do that much damage. I think defensively they were solid enough, even though they were a little bit different today. The team looking a little bit different, just the way that they kind of lined up out there. I think actually Marlon with a question, is that a starting lineup for a playoff game? That's a good question. That is a good question. What do you think, Max?
It's an interesting one. I mean, right, like I would... It's just been interesting because he hasn't been featuring as much as of late, but I would say maybe like you could have like the right Carlos Harvey and for Darius Formella, a little bit of a change of formation, but I don't hate that there. I like especially that if you're going to go into these playoff matches where knowing that teams are most likely going to just from a talent standpoint, probably not be as offensively inclined as you are, and B, knowing that's the playoffs, they're going to come and probably tighten up a bit. I would say I don't hate this one.
It's interesting though, because to turn that around a little bit here, and I said this to you earlier, right? When you look at the bench, yes, you do end up having the game changer is on the bench in this case, right? You look at who's there, and it's Emil Cuello, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not trusting that he's going to do that every game.
Sure.
You look at some of the other players who are on the bench. You got Fede Varela, who has been a disappointment this season. I think not necessarily in terms of him being bad, but not being what we expected.
Inconsistency wise.
Inconsistent, right? Yeah. We expected a player, I think, and he was touted as being a significantly better player than what we've been able to see, than what we've seen out of him. That's the thing. It's not necessarily that he's been bad. He's been a disappointment. And then you also had a guy like Erickson Gallardo, right, who has got pace to burn for days, doesn't always have the end product there as well.
Sure.
As you look at those guys and you're trying to work out, where's the change going to be made? If you wanted to make a change, what would you do? I think come playoff time, that'll be a problem, perhaps, if you don't have someone like, look, I like having Darius. I thought that Darius Formella deserved his spot in the starting lineup today based on the way that he has played in recent weeks. Okay. You saw that 3-game stretch when he gets 2 goals, and he's doing that off the bench. Okay. I think that has to be rewarded, and it has to be shown there that you are rewarding players for that one. But at the same time, he also can provide a really good role off the bench. He's someone who we know can put the ball away. If he's coming on with fresh legs against a more tired defense, especially as you get into the playoffs, you have games could be going 120 minutes each week. And teams like Orange County have shown in the past that happens, and you get through to the final. Rising have done it. Rising had a season where, of course, they get to the final not being played in 2020. But every single game went 120 minutes.
Yeah. You ain't wrong.
You need a bit more there. Start Eddie and start Harvey, says BJ. Although Hernandez has that ability to calm things down and take control of the midfield also. Formella would be out. We need to attack from both sides of the pitch. Look, I think one of the things I'd say there in terms of just when you're talking about Hernandez is you have to look at some of the numbers and look at the way that he really controls the tempo of the game in that midfield. It's surprising. I wouldn't have had him starting earlier in the season, but we've seen more of him, more and more from him in recently. He's really causing a bit of a selection headache there, because yes, I understand the desire to play Carlos Harvey. I understand the desire to play Renzo Zambrano. But Jose Hernandez absolutely has to be in that conversation with them.
I don't even know if it's a conversation. I think he's just been undroppable.
Yeah,
I think especially right.
How many games does it feel like when you watch him, he puts a foot wrong? I can't.
Well, no,
really
not only that he
bring up many examples.
Not only that he hasn't put a foot wrong. I think like if you kind of are talking about those guys who are like, hey, it could be who are those super subs, those guys off the bench that can make a difference. Jose Andres Hernandez is a guy to me who he's dictating the game throughout the entire time he is on it, and especially again come playoff time where you're going to need to be able to break teams down, to progress forward, everything like that. You want him on a pitch, and again, it's tough if you're saying, oh, is it him or Carlos Harvey? They bring you totally different things, but I will say, if you have him on the pitch, being able to bring Carlos Harvey off the bench is a heck of an impact sub, especially if you need a goal or you need a body in there to cause havoc or hold on to a lead. that's a fantastic option to have.
You know what it reminds me of? You'll hate this one
Will I?
because it's a Reno one.
Oh,
that Reno
boy.
game.
Oh,
But
boy.
having Damian Lowe available off the bench in that game, right? Seriously. You remember
Yeah.
that from 2020? Damian Lowe comes on off the bench and just, I mean, he was unplayable at this level,
Yeah.
right? Significantly better player in this level. We all knew it at the time. I'll give you an interesting, do you want an interesting fact? Got one here.
Please.
So Phoenix Rising are undefeated in their last 8 games in USL Championship.
Yes.
Rising's last longer unbeaten streak, because the last time they went longer than 8 games was a run of 10 games, 27th of June 2021 to 22nd of August 2021. So it's been over 2 years since we've seen the team put together a streak quite of this magnitude.
I mean, it's crazy to think about that. Like, this streak goes on. This team hasn't had a bad losing streak this year and everything like that. It's just interesting how, like, where they find themselves, right? A lot of those wins, quote unquote wins, kind of to the draws. They rescued a couple draws out of losses. Like, it's just where the averages are. You're happy with the 8-match unbeaten streak, and you really hope to turn those last 2 matches into wins because they're going to need it if they want to host at home.
Yeah, no, they are right. It's going to be a busy, messy end to this season. A lot of things up for grabs over the next 2 weeks, and we will, I'm sure, talk about that in a second.
Yeah, I mean, you know what is up for grabs? Friends at OG's Brands, because you can grab them off the dang shelves at your local dispensary. I mean, you can't actually grab them because, right, there's, like, people in the way, and you have to, pay and go through the process and say hello and say, oh,
very
like this
specific,
one.
Max.
Well,
yes.
I'm just being honest. That's how it works. But, of course, they have all the different ones, the fruits, the creams, maybe all the different kinds. And even if you took one, because you're kind of looking at us in the background, you're thinking, oh, wait, do I have an OG's in my system? Is this kind of what's going on? No, you're not alone. This is actually real, but you can have one in your system. You check out ogsbrands.com, find them at a local dispensary near you, and you can check them out on Instagram at OG's Brands. Of course, the minis are back in stock. Let's freaking go. Gonna pick up, have a good time. Must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly.
Indeed.
You also had to be 20 years old if you're going to be having a little adult beverage at Valley Tap Room. Right? We were there having a little beer ski a couple weeks ago. Some new stuff coming around the corner, right? We especially going to be celebrating as we get into the postseason, into the off season. So good time. Check out Valley Tap Room. Check out my Instagram at Valley Tap Room. It's always going to be a good time. My man Donald. Go tell Donald what's up, and Owen will buy you a beer, right?
Max is buying beers, I hear.
Shoot.
Max is buying beers, I hear. Right, we're going to look around the USL?
Yes, because it actually has a lot of implications.
It are, right.
Yes.
I'll run through all of the scores. This is everything we have from tonight. Indy 11 3, Detroit City 0.
Motored.
Pittsburgh Riverhands 3, FC Tulsa 2.
Yeah.
The Miami FC 2.
The
Hartford Athletic 0. You knew that was a thing, right? The Miami FC.
Well, it's
the Miami FC.
Of course. I mean,
that is actually the name. I think there was a
yeah,
copyright argument with Traffic Sports.
I mean, I don't like it, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. Tampa Bay Rowdies 1, Loudoun United 0.
East.
Colorado Springs Switchbacks 1, RGV 1.
Strobe lights after goals.
Memphis 901 1, Birmingham Legion 2.
Barbecue.
New Mexico United 2, Louisville City 0.
Red cards.
There were red cards.
Well,
we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes,
we'll talk about that in a minute. El Paso
yes.
Locomotive 3, Charleston Battery 2.
Choo-choo.
Oakland Roots 2, San Antonio 2.
Who is the guy in the movie Chris Tucker? Is on their Twitter.
Where is this coming from?
I don't know. It was on their Twitter like very recently.
Right.
Chris Tucker.
And finally, San Diego Loyal 4, Monterey Bay 1.
Yeah.
That last result being the one that guaranteed that a draw here tonight would clinch a playoff spot.
Sicky nar.
The other one there, RGV, they drew earlier against Colorado Springs with a 98th minute equalizer.
It's beautiful.
Despite being down to 10 men, Frank Lopez receiving seemingly a yellow card in the 82nd minute and a red card in the 83rd. Not quite sure what's happened there with Alvin and Lever, the referee.
Is it straight red?
It appears to be, but it's not clear from what I'm looking at here. I don't know. We'll find out later. I'm sure we'll look into that one. In front of almost 8,000 people at Widener Field. a 1-1 draw there. So that means in terms of the standings, we take a quick look at the
Please do.
standings just to give you an idea. 4 teams have clinched in the West. Sacramento, 55 points from 31 games. San Antonio, 55 points from 32 games. San Diego with 50 points from 31 games. And Phoenix Rising with 48 points from 32 games. Worth noting, Orange County, same point, actually have a game more to play, but Orange County have not clinched tonight. The reason that Phoenix Rising have clinched, that first team out per se, even though they're not, they sit in 11th, but they got a game in hand, so they might as well be. RGV on 39 points. They can match Rising for points, but the first tiebreak is head-to-head, and Rising own that tiebreaker over RGV. So that means that Rising have clinched on 48. OC have not clinched on 48. Colorado Springs Switchbacks, they sit on 47 points from 32 games. El Paso Locomotive, 43. They've moved up to 7th from 31 games. Oakland Roots on 42 from 31 games in 8th. And then you hop just outside the playoffs. You got Monterey Bay on 41 from 32. Yep. New Mexico on 40 from 32. And RGV on 39 from 31. And of course, the obligatory reference to our good friend Brett Lashbrook and Las Vegas Lights, 19 points from 31 games. They are the only team in the West that are eliminated.
Defeated.
Indeed. So, yeah, I mean, as it stands, Rising tonight sit in a top 4 spot. Orange County do have a game in hand, but worth noting, of course, Orange County's run-in is a little bit more difficult. They've got Oakland at home in midweek. They're also going to have to face San Antonio before the season's out. Right? These aren't easy games for them.
And then they go to Monterey Bay.
The league website's broken,
and then they go to Monterey Bay. And they go to Monterey. I mean, a couple of things, right? Not only do they have more games to play than Rising, they do have a couple hard matches in there with the midweek matchup. Rising also owns the head-to-head tiebreaker, which I get that
against Orange County.
Yes, which I get. Yes. I get that they have a game in hand. Okay, that's a fair point. But the fact that they own that head-to-head tiebreaker is fantastic.
Right, but if you say that San Antonio, who beat them 4-0 just last week, right? And yes, it can be hard to repeat those kind of results. But let's say Orange County lose at home to San Antonio. You've effectively wiped off the game in hand, right?
Sure.
So, and you're only asking really for them to lose in one of those games. Exactly. Oakland, San Antonio, Monterey Bay. These are all playoff teams, not easy. If Rising can get results, if Rising can win their next 2 games, I think they're still putting themselves in a decent
100%. Because then that's the beauty is then when you look at these other matchups further, really starts getting Rising favor, right? Rising's next matchup, home against New Mexico. Like we mentioned, New Mexico. Oh, we alluded to it. New Mexico, a couple red card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were a couple of red cards in that game. We should give it a little bit of a talk. It was a 2-0 win, of course, for New Mexico United over Louisville City. They take the lead in the 32nd minute, right? Swartz with the goal. Borgelin gets sent off. Second yellow card, 53rd minute. But New Mexico double their advantage at home playing at Ice Dubs Park. They end up getting a goal through Hernandez in the 74th minute. But Hernandez forgets the fact that he picked up a yellow card 4 minutes prior. So what does he do? He's given a mask. The mask he puts on his face by the fan as he celebrates. And he picks up a second yellow card for that. Because for those of you who maybe aren't aware, under Law 12, the exact same kind of area where we're talking about you take your shirts off when you're celebrating a goal, it's a mandatory caution.
Yeah.
So too is covering your face with a mask or other similar material. It's a mandatory caution. You're going to get that one. He does pick up that. He gets his second yellow card. So that is 2 players that New Mexico United will be without for the game next weekend as they roll in here to 38 from Washington.
Okay. So that's context on the New Mexico match. And then you kind of look at Colorado Springs, right? Again, we're not getting ahead of this, but it's all for context. Them conceding that very late goal and equalizing.
It's a gut punch.
It is a gut punch. And it's one of those things. Rising was always going, in terms of when you look at Rising in Colorado Springs, Rising compared to Colorado Springs was always still able to control their own destiny, knowing that they play them in the final match of the season. But this just gives, again, you don't want to even get in this scenario, but like it gives Rising just a little bit of wiggle room. The fact that Colorado Springs did not pick up all 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. You look at Colorado Springs, they if they'd have held on, they would have won 4 on the bounce.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the kind of form they're on. They are another informed team that, quite frankly, you don't want to come up against in the playoffs. The fact that Rising have got them in the last game of the regular season is not ideal. You don't really want to come up against a team like that right now, but you're going to have to go there and win, because the reality is otherwise they're probably going to take you.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got got to be real about that. They're probably going to take Phoenix Rising if Colorado Springs win that game up at Widener Field. We'll have to wait and see, but it is important again that they drop points here tonight. It still leaves things in a better position for Rising in terms of feeling like they have a lot more say in how this one will end. Worth noting, of course, that they are only 1 point behind Phoenix Rising. If they'd have won that game tonight, they would have been ahead, and Rising, a draw wouldn't have been enough. They'd have had to win away to Colorado Springs to get it.
And that's
a draw now away.
Difficult task.
If providing Rising beats New Mexico and draw against Colorado Springs Switchbacks, Rising will finish above Colorado Springs.
Yep.
Okay, we know that. That is a fact.
Yes.
But so I mean, that does show really how critical it was.
Oh yeah.
They managed to do that one. I see there's a few things here people are on about. Eric Krause, the why was there no mention of Indigenous people tonight given the theme?
I mean,
there was a little bit, but I understand the sentiment there. Yeah. BJ as well with what will Rising do to get more fans in for the home finale. Disappointing to see a lack of fans for a match where we could clinch a playoff spot. Again, I understand it. I know there's work being done, but it is disappointing. Look, if you're watching us now and didn't come out here tonight to the game, come out next weekend.
And if you were watching and you did come, bring a friend.
Yeah, bring a friend, bring people, right? I think there was a good energy here.
It was
from the fans.
I think so.
I think the South End was bouncing.
Yeah, they were. Like honest. Quite literally, I did see them bouncing.
They were bouncing, absolutely.
Yeah. And sorry if our distraction's off. People are taking pictures of us behind the camera. Emma, Stylaki, both of you, stop it. Bad.
All right. Well, before we go,
I don't like this.
Can I just shout out?
This might be Photoshopped. This
is not Photoshop. We get in here, right? Sit down, and I was handed a club. The staffer walked in and said that they were handed this to give to me. I've got a birthday card from a kid here. You see?
You got to show the camera. That was not focused on.
Okay, that's fine. There you go. Look. Max is buying root beer, is what it says on there. I mean, it's a kid, so I understand that.
Hold on. Yeah. There we go.
That's not going to be focused if you hold it up there. See, you can't see anything. Yeah, it's way too bright. Look, back here, you can kind of see it. You can see that.
Also, they made you have
blue shirt. Yeah.
Actually, it's quite good.
Yeah. And also, inside, it also says, you also are way funnier than Max.
That's not what it says.
It does. This is what the kid has written in here. It says it.
What do these kids watch?
A picture of it. So shout out to Hendrik.
These youths. I mean, he already give you way much credit. Way taller than he on this card than he is in real life. And
I'm way funnier than you, Max.
That's just an opinion.
It says it says in here. Hendrik's confirmed. You are also way funnier than Max.
Everyone has different tastes. And that's okay.
It's true.
He's respectfully wrong, but that's okay.
No, he's dead on correct.
I'm not gonna tell. What do you want me to say? He's a kid. I don't want to say it. Then you can dream. You can dream. You can say things. You're young. You got youth. You're fine.
Let's land the plane. Yeah. We can't see the planes behind us. Normally we do.
Yeah, normally we do.
Land the plane, Max.
Land the plane.
Land the plane.
Oh boy, appreciate everyone joining us on the PHNX Rising post game. Yeah, man. You guys can follow us on Le Twitter, Le X, whatever you want to call it, at PHNX__Rising. Because double the underscore.
Double the fun.
Double the fun.
Double the teams qualifying for the playoffs tonight.
Yes. Go D-backs, but mainly go Rising. You can follow me on Twitter at Max David Simpson. Follow Owen on Twitter at OJEvans18. You can follow Statlacky Reese at Reese11_. He gave us 2 underscores at one point. This guy's delusional, literally sending people to the wrong username. Why would he do that? It's just a disgrace. And yet here we are. He rebounds. Only 1 underscore. Follow producer Emma at Emma Ann Clark. And yeah, I appreciate everyone. Fun, nice little location here. We make it work. It's a beautiful game. We're more beautiful when Rising, qualify, clinch playoffs. Let's go.